everybody, and welcome back for a Warpforge video. I know I've been putting these out and really having a lot of fun with it. And if you didn't know, how I got into Magic the Gathering was learning how to draft. I've been a huge fan of any sort of draft or limited format for pretty much any card game for a number of reasons. And if you haven't done it, maybe this is kind of a window into why it can be so fun. And that's because I think the playing field is a little bit more even. When you don't have a huge collection with Magic the Gathering, when you don't have the best cards for constructed, playing draft is a way of like really just leveling that playing field where the cards are at a lower power level. The power level is, less of a disparity. You have to build your deck on the fly. You have to read what is being passed to you and how you're coming up with your deck on the fly. And I think that it's also a really great way of understanding card evaluation, because it really forces you to say, okay, I wouldn't put this in my constructed deck, but is this going to be good in a format where the power level is more flat? And although drafting in this game it's hard to tell how that exactly plays out because we only have pre-constructed decks. I just wanted to take you guys along with me to see some of the cards and to see what drafting in Warforge looks like right now. And word of warning, I have not done this a ton. This is really, I think, maybe my second or third time trying to draft. One went pretty poorly. The other one I got at least 3 wins, which felt okay. And honestly, it's kind of hard to evaluate quite yet if I'm doing it right. But I think it's really fun, and let's just dive in. So we've got our draft mode, and we get to pick which race, which faction we want to be here. So we've got the Space Marines with our boy Uriel Ventress here. And it's always good to check out each Warlord has their signature card. Master of the Fleet is pretty good too. It's 2 energy, and you start with 2 energy at the beginning of the game, so it's just kind of good to know you start on 2, not 1, which is kind of a little counterintuitive. And it deals 1 damage to an enemy and its adjacent units. So a really nice card to have, either to pressure your opponent early, where you're dealing 3 damage to the other Warlord and they're only able to return 2 damage, or as they start to develop their board, you can target whatever's in the middle, and then adjacent just meaning on the left, on the right side, right? So you can sometimes get some pretty nasty kind of 2-for-1s even with a card that only does 1 damage, because you can set it up and you always have access to it on your turn. It's ephemeral, meaning it leaves your hand at the end of turn, but then it comes back the following turn. So this is definitely I feel like a sort of stock, just solid, nothing crazy, nothing super, super powerful, I would say, about what this Space Marine is doing. But I think it's definitely a deck that I've played with and I'm sort of familiar with, and who knows, maybe we'll go with that. I'm honestly just doing this right off the cuff. So we've got also our choice of the Tyranids, which is one of the newer factions, and I put a video up on. So let's check out what they've got going. So Spirit Leech, ephemeral, deal 1 damage to an enemy or give 1 health to a friendly unit for 1 energy. Interesting. So the passive, I guess I'm going to call it that. The passive card that comes, or the signature card that comes with, to borrow a Spellslinger's term, that comes with the Space Marine costs 2. This costs 1. And it's not dealing that sort of blast damage where it's hitting multiple units, but it gives you the option to either deal an extra damage for 1 energy less, which I think is pretty noteworthy, and give something +1 health. And you guys will, if you haven't played the game or you're starting to play the game, you're probably realizing that health is probably the most important stat, because health is going to determine, does this card get to get multiple attacks in? And if it doesn't, is that card actually good? And since baseline, most Warlords can deal 2 to 3 damage, if you're playing a unit with anything less than 3 health, it really has to be doing something special, or have some synergies in order to, in my opinion, be a playable card. That's kind of how I'm starting to formulate my thoughts on card evaluation in the game. So honestly, that seems really good to me. For 1 mana, having that modality, I think I'd actually like that better than what we've got for the Space Marines. But we also are going to be thinking about how the individual power level of the cards. So that's also important to think about. These are the Necrons, the sort of robot Terminator folks. And what is their signature card? It is choose a card from your deck, move it to the top of your deck. Interesting, right? So kind of reminds me of Sensei's Divining Top. And it looks, and I think you choose from 3 cards. That's kind of like drafting. I mean, it's 1 mana, which is not a lot. There are usually cards in the Necron decks that trigger abilities when you use cards like this. So that's interesting, right? Because it's very cheap to utilize. And you get some really nice card selection. So it's kind of, I don't know, we've got some spicy options, but I gotta say I'm a little bit interested to try this Tyranid build, because the signature card is really interesting to me, and I wonder if it is good enough compared to the other ones. So I will definitely try and put more videos as well, drafting different types of decks. But I think let's give these really creepy, scary guys a shot. So we have selected our Warlord. Now we're going to have 10 rounds of 3 cards, 30 cards in a deck, just like Spell Slingers as well. Where you're obviously, I think, number one, and I've said this, I think, in my Spell Slinger videos, pay attention to your curve, right? How many cards do you have at 2 cost, 3 cost, 5 cost, 6 cost? I generally think, so you're starting on 2 mana at the beginning of the game, right? So obviously having a wealth of 2 drops is going to be good for you to some degree, because it's just going to give you more options on turn 2. And I think that you don't want to be putting too many, like there are 7 to 10 drops as well in the game, just like Spell Slingers. And I would say for the most part, you probably don't want to be prioritizing that. You want to be really efficient, and you want to have modality, right? Choices with what you're doing. Let's check out some of these packs, right? Because we only get to choose one. So we've got Darkened Skies, really cool card. It was in my Tyranid video. It deals 2 damage to a random enemy, and then you continue the effect for every flyer that you have. And what do we have right next to it? Mr. Gargoyle, who is a flyer. And also has Tide, which, if you hadn't seen in the last video, basically it makes a copy in your hand and you can play it. So in turn 6, right, or you have 6 energy, you can play 2 of these. You can also combine them to make a 2, 6, and 6 health Gargoyle, because it's got Swarm. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, there's clear synergy between these cards. And I will say this card is more impressive than it looks. So it's 6 energy, right? 6 mana. And 2 damage, 4 range damage. Nothing to write home about. But what's the other stat that we're looking at? Health. And it's got 8 health. Which, let me tell you, that's a lot. And it also has an effect, right? So it says talent, aerial seeding. Create a card in your hand at the start of your turn. So it's also giving you continual card advantage, which is pretty sweet. So what do we get? Aerial seeding. Choose a 2-cost Leviathan troop and put 2 copies of it in your hand. So, wow. So play this on turn 6. Turn 7, you untap your mana. I know it's energy in this game, but I'm going to keep using the magic terminology because it helps my brain understand. Untap. It's turn 7. You can start by using Aerial Seedling, see what 2-cost Leviathan troops that you hit, and then either play a 5-cost, or who knows, if you get a 2-cost troop that's got Tide, you probably just have gotten a free, 4 energy or 5 energy play off of Aerial Seeding, right? So, to be honest, this pack is pretty impressive. I think we've got some clear synergy here. We've got a 2-3, and yes, it's a 6-drop, but I think it's a 6-drop that we probably want to be playing. So seems like a good start. Okay. And now we get into some other mechanics. So Hormigaunt, which is a fleet Leviathan, right? So like that's what we would be potentially getting off of the Hive guy. It's got Tide 4, so you can just make a bunch of it. It's got great attack, but it has no ranged ability. And honestly, I think one of the gaping holes in Tyranids, as I think you probably saw when I got destroyed by an Eldar player, not a lot of great early creatures with ranged attack. I would say Termagant is a lot better. I would honestly take the 1 and 2 so that when I combine them, I'm still getting a decent ranged attacker and like a fine physical attacker. The fact that you have 0 means that people can literally take out your units for free because you have no ability to retaliate damage. Because whenever you deal damage to a unit, it does the same back to you unless there's like a special effect. So Termagant's honestly probably the best card in this pack, in my opinion. And then we've got your infantry troops cost 1 less the turn. Now, that's a pretty powerful effect, right? These are both infantry, so clearly it has synergy. You can go kind of crazy with the Tide because you just keep getting copies and combining them. So in the sense, this is really nice because of the low mana cost of everything. But honestly, I think these individual cards are a little bit better. So I'm going to go with the Tyrannocyte. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. I do not know. So we've got that selected, added those cards to our deck. Sweet. So we've got a 2, a 3, and a 6. What's really nice is they have this great deck info energy balance. So this is showing your curve. Really nice design. Okay. Immediately my eye is going to go to the more spread out or distributed mana costs. I'm a little wary to see a pack with 3 5 costs, but definitely going to take a look. Hive Guard, Vanguard, very, very important keyword. It's Hearthstone, and I don't remember the term, but it's the same thing where it's like your unit, you have to attack that unit first to kill any other units or to get to the Warlord. So Vanguard is just a really good way of protecting your Warlord's health and setting up future turns. So this is a 5 mana, 6 health, pretty healthy, should be able to take 2 hits, depending on the state of the game. That has really good ranged attack and like so pretty mediocre physical. It's like a fine Vanguard card. It's nothing to write home about. I would say there are definitely better Vanguards in other races. And then we've got Death Leaper, Stealth. I talked about this in my Tyranny video. Stealth is just a very powerful mechanic. It can't be interacted with when you play it, which means that there's really no drawback to having 0 range in some sense, because you're going to play this on 5. Following turn, guaranteed 7 damage on something, right? Even if this doesn't survive, maybe it takes out a huge Vanguard unit. Maybe you get a 7 power attack on their Warlord. And when it strikes, when it attacks, you get to stun a random enemy, can't attack you for a full turn cycle. Pretty good. I think this card's relatively powerful. Apex Predator. I don't think I've seen this. Give Invulnerable to a friendly unit this turn. I'm assuming Invulnerable is indestructible. Cannot be damaged or destroyed. Interesting. 5 feels like kind of a steep cost for that effect. I feel like if it were 2 or 3, it's a lot better. So I'm kind of questioning that. Overall, I don't think this pack is like crazy good. I'm going to try and keep track of the time in my head because I know I'm spending a lot of time here. And we are going to play some games just to showcase it. Another Darkened Skies. If we have more flyers, not opposed to that. And we do have a flyer in this pack. Rapacious Hunger. Deal 2 damage to all enemies for each one that dies. Heal 2 to a random friendly unit. Now, shout out to Wushu. We had a really close game. And the thing that actually won me the game was Rapacious Hunger when Wushu had been playing Necrons. It had all these little sentry, like spiderling things that all had, I think, 1 or 2 health, and it just wiped the board, and I went from like 10 health on my Warlord to like 30 or something. So I will say this is a pretty nasty board wipe for some of the kind of lower power sort of deck builds. And Hive Crone's excellent. I would say any card that comes into play and has Rally, like which is basically enter the battlefield, deal damage, is just a pretty noteworthy effect. It's 7 health for 6 energy, so that's a pretty good ratio. 5 physical, 4 ranged. So just like really evenly statted. It's got flying, so they have to attack it with range. So you kind of wish the ranged attack was a little higher, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. And then it deals 3 damage to something. And so honestly, this pack is kind of catching my eye just because, although it's not huge, it's not that great to have another Darkened Sky. I think Hunger gives us a nice out to some of the decks that go super wide aggressive, which is like other builds, I think, of Necrons, Orcs, what is it? Or sorry, I said other builds of Necrons, Orcs, and Tyranids, I would say, kind of play that way. So that seems like a pretty good pack, but definitely got to try out these other ones. Pyrovore, it's a crazy name. When another troop dies, heal 2. I've loved this card a lot. It's got 4 health to begin with, 3 energy, pretty good ratio, and then it's got 4 infantry. There's actually a card very similar in the Orc decks, which is a vehicle that has like armor and 4 health, and I think has 4 range as well. It's pretty good, and this heals too when you kill their troops, or I guess when your troop dies. So pretty good 3-drop. Swarming Masses create 3 random Leviathan troops to swarm in your hand. Obviously a really good way to sort of press into the mid and late game. And then Haruspex, I don't think I've seen this card. 8 energy, 8 health, lots of health, 8 attack, pretty crazy, and it heals 4, which seems to be a nice theme in the Tyranids, that they can heal and just like keep mutating or something, which sounds terrifying. This is a really interesting pack. I think if this 8-drop were not an 8-drop, I'd be a little bit more interested. But I think Rapacious Hunger is a nice out to have in the deck, and I think Hive Crone is excellent, and I think Darkened Skies is fine, especially when if we build into more flyers. So I think we're going to go with that. All right, I'm going to try and speed up a little bit. Okay, same pack, so who knows if we're going to be that interested. Okay, we've got the option to take Termagant, which I think is a great 2-drop, and then we have our first 4-drop, right? Yeah. Sorry, there we go. Synapse when a friendly unit triggers. Give it Swarm, give it +1 attack and 1 health. Interesting. And Synapse means that any stratagem that targets it. So that could be our stratagem that heals for 1, I believe. Adjacent units also get 1 health. So that seems kind of nice. That's kind of it's also a pretty nice 4-drop. It's 4 energy, 5 health. Very solid stats. Also, getting another Gargoyle in our deck when we've got the Darkened Skies seems like a good idea. But let's check out this. We've seen this. We've seen this. High Fleet Leviathan. Your troops cost 1 less for the rest of this battle. I'm a little low on stuff like this. I think you just want good units. So I think we're going to go with this pack. All right. Seeing some 2-drops, so I'm going for that. Mucilid Spore, I don't love this card. So it's 3 health, which is fine for a 2 energy creature. Flying Blast 2 is great. As soon as it strikes something, it dies. And so the ideal is you hit something for 3, it blasts out 2 damage to the 2 adjacent units. But it's really low health, and its ranged attack is terrible, so it's just so easy for this to die. Give 3 health to a friendly unit. That's really great for 2 mana. And then we've got a 5-drop that I have not seen. So Stealth, 4 attack power, 5 health. Nothing to write home about, but Blast 3. And then Strike, when it attacks, return this card to your deck and reduces cost by 3. That's interesting. So it just gets that hit to deal 4 and then blast out 3. And then it goes back into your deck, which is pretty nasty because Because often this is just going to die after the next attack, so you kind of get more value out of it. Interesting. Alright, and then what do we got? Spore Mine. At the start of your turn, destroy this unit and deal 3 damage to a random enemy. Huh. So they either kill it, which they probably easily could, or it deals 3 damage to something. There's also the Pyrovore, which is great. And then, ooh, so we've got another flyer. When a friendly Spore Mine dies, deploy another one. Okay. That's kind of some cool synergy. And then we've got this 5-card pack. I'm kind of... I don't know if this is going to be good, but I kind of want to go for this strategy. Let's try this one for Harpy. Okay, Termagant, good. Hyper Adaptation, choose an effect and give it to a friendly troop. Okay. Tyrant Guard is a much better Vanguard unit. Yes, it's ranged. Well, I shouldn't say much better. The ranged attack's not great, but it's got Vanguard and it's got 2 armor. Armor is damage received is reduced by X to a minimum of 1. So damage is reduced by 2 when it's getting attacked. Just kind of a nice beefy Vanguard unit. And 2 2-drops that seem pretty good. Let's check out. Von Ryan's Leaper is one of the really scary cards, I will say, because it's so easy on turn 8 to make just a 10 power, 8 health stealth unit that's just going to like chew up your opponent. There's also Lictor, which doesn't have the Swarm or the Tide, but is just a very efficient stealth unit. And then we've got Death Leaper, which we talked about before. So some good 4s and 5s. And then we've got Pyrovore, Masses, and then another 8-drop. Honestly, I'm kind of more in on this. I think I would like our curves still to be kind of low, especially with the Tide units. You get more out of them. These are some good options, but I think kind of my rule in Magic is if there are 2 very similar power level cards, or like pretty close, choose the cheaper, because that's usually going to be more beneficial for your curve. So we're going to go with that. Okay, Hormigaunt, not super high on. Lictor is fine, and then Malceptor. Artifice is when you do something when you play a stratagem, which is the one that we get each turn. Give a shield to a random friendly unit. I mean, you know, turn 8 we could potentially play it and then use proc our Artifice, and then Synapse would kind of spread. So if I give this health, I can spread health to others, and then it would give a shield to a random friendly unit, and shield just means it absorbs all the damage from one attack, which, like on a Vanguard unit, would be really good. So that's kind of worth considering. Okay, we've got the same pack, and then we've got Enhanced Organism Adaptation and 6 Broodlord. What is this? Stealth Synapse. Synapse. When this unit triggers Synapse, it triggers twice. Huh. And we've got some things to trigger it. 6 power, not great range. 6 health for 6 is okay. I'm honestly kind of thinking about this. I kind of like that we're getting a little bit of a different take from this pack. A little bit of different options, so I think we're going to go with that. Okay, this is the same thing. Okay, we've got another Spore Mine plus this. And this is Artifice Deployer, Spore Mine. Ooh, I think I gotta try this Spore Synergy. Ooh, I do love Predator Instincts. Giving Flank is really, really nice. It gives haste to a unit, essentially. And then Venom Thrope has Death Touch. 6 health, 4. Destroy any troop attacked by this unit. So, I don't know how... I don't love Apex Predator. I think I'm just going to go for this cool Spore Flyer synergy. I don't love having 3 7-drops, but maybe it'll work out. Ripper Swarm. Okay, this is a 1-mana 1/1 that can grow. I kind of like that idea. So, turn 2, you can get a 2/2. That's fine. And we've got a Warrior. Okay, 4 health. 3. So this is very well statted. And then it's got Synapse. And then we've got Swarming the Masses, which I don't... Do we have that yet? We don't. So that's kind of interesting. Alright, could offer the same pack here. health. I mean, we do have quite a few synapse, so I do want to prioritize a pack like this at some point. Kind of like what this is doing for our curve. We don't have many 3-drops either, and the Tyranid Warrior seems like a decent 3-drop. Alright, last 2 picks. Okay, another Ripper Swarm, and then Screamer Killer. Armor 1, Blast 2, 6 plus armor, huge range attack. Interesting. Circle the prey. Gives stealth to a friendly troop. Ooh, I kind of like that. Zoanthrope, which looks like our Warlord. Synapse, when a friendly unit triggers Synapse, deals 1 to 3 damage to a random enemy. Huh. And then we've got a huge flyer. Wow. Okay. And we've got this kind of package again. I'm interested in this, I think, but how many spells do we have to trigger Synapse? We've got Darkened Skies is a stratagem, so that counts. Or no, Synapse. No, it's targeting the unit. So Hyper Adaptation. Oh my goodness. Adaptation. I mean, we have our passive, which we can always, our signature card rather, that we can always use. Because we don't have a ton. But we can always kind of guarantee 1 to 3 damage to a random enemy with Synapse. I wonder if it says when a friendly unit, that includes this. Kind of. Let's take that. I'm gonna try and take one if we get another Rapacious Hunger. This guy's huge. I don't think we need any huge things. Okay, Infestation Node is a spell that we could use. Both of these would be fine. Blind to random enemies. Okay, we're gonna go with this. I think this works well. Cool. All right, that is our draft. We've got our deck. Let's take a look at our curve. 7 2-drops. I think that's good. Maybe we want closer to 8. 3s, 4s, and a couple bigger ones to round out the curve. All right. Well, I say let's fire up. I think let's fire up at least a game. We are. Let's do some battling. Let's see if our weird Spore Flyer Synapse strategy will work. Hopefully we won't face a bot, because we're still getting more people in the game, but I think more people are playing because the demo's actually been open for quite a while. So, okay, and who are we playing? Is that Chaos Marines? I actually can't tell. Okay. Well, we've got our little Spore Mine to maybe set up some stuff. I like the 4-drop. I do like the Hive Crone, but I think we do want to ship back these kind of cards. Spore Mine, do we want it in our opener? Maybe not. Spore Mine has some synergy, but I don't know that we want to open with it. Nice. Let's snarl Baba Yaga. That's great. Oh no, it's a Space Marine. Choose an Ultramarine Psychic Power and put it into your hand. Interesting. Alright. We've got basically a 2/2 that has 3 health. That's pretty nice. That's right. Deal 1 damage to an enemy or give 1 health to a friendly unit. We also, I forget, we get access to Digestion Pool, which is pretty sick. Your next troop this turn costs 2 less. It lets us set up some pretty sweet turns. I mean, we could just run out a 4-drop. And I still don't know if Synapse works if we target our own card. But next turn we could go, or on turn 4, I think we could go Gargoyle and then do it. So what do we want to do? It is also really tempting to start with the Tyranid Prime, because then we can just kind of heal it. But you know what? I think I would rather deal 1 damage, take out the unit, and I think just end the turn, because there's no point in playing the Spore Mine, right? It's just going to die. I think we're just going to keep this in our hand until we maybe have a way to set it up with like Vanguard. That's probably the best way to do it. So we traded our health to kill their unit. I think it's pretty essential that we do that. We want to try and maintain, you know, some decent board position. So we're down 2 health, but you know, nothing crazy. Okay, we drew our Hive Crone. So here we could just play Gargoyle and pass the turn. Because I think now I'm a little bit more interested in running out the Hive Crone next turn. So as much as we're going to lose out a little bit on advantage, they're probably going to have to deal with this. And I think that's fine. I'm not going to attack because we're at a health deficit at the moment. So we don't get a huge value here, but he can't punch this. He has to use range, and we have 3 range, which is nice, because that's what flying says. Can't be targeted with melee attacks by a non-flying unit. Okay, so they're probably going to use these 2 to pop the Gargoyle, be my guess. 2 and 2. Because this has flank, which can only have haste to attack an enemy unit. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they want to do. And they're drawing a lot of stratagems over there. It's a little scary. Yep, so we get to kill that unit because we've got really nice range. Nice. Now we're up on life a little bit, which is pretty sweet. Okay, Darkened Skies we get after we played a flying unit. Well, so we've got an open board here. I mean, playing Hive Crone is definitely going to put us ahead. I think I would rather save this to kill a unit, though. We could just hold on to our digestion pool. So here, I think I'm pretty interested in just running out the Tyranid Prime, and then maybe we'll set up some sort of turn where we've got the guard. I also really want to see if Synapse works on itself. I'm kind of interested to see that. And we're going to punch because we're up a life. I think that's generally a pretty good rule. If you're ahead or even, attacking should be fine. It does depend on the board state, but right now we're ahead. They're probably going to have to use 2 units to kill this. I could have played it on turn 5, though, actually, now that I think about it. So I could have used the Synapse trigger. That might have been better. Oh boy. Still really learning the game. Okay. Big Vanguard unit. And he got to stun this because he used all his mana for the turn. So that's pretty unfortunate. But now, maybe we'll set up our own Vanguard turn and proc our Synapse. When this unit is targeted by a friendly stratagem, adjacent units are affected. Yeah, so I think that's going to be the vibe. Got Rapacious Hunger if they end up going wide. Yeah, because his ranged attack isn't great. So let's do this. And heal that. These all get to heal for 1, which is kind of nice. And we can just deal 2 to this for now. And pass the turn. So now if we also draw any of our 7 drops, like we can maybe cast them ahead of schedule. Then we might hyper adaptation on this. Oh. That was a mistake. They punched, which they shouldn't have done, and instead probably... Or, I guess they're maybe going to trade here? That's fine. I definitely don't mind that. Synapse, this guy is pretty sweet. Just getting to gift free health to your units. Okay. Alright, so that was their plan. Makes sense. But it bought us a turn for our Tyranid Prime to ramp up. Which is kind of nice. Okay. Can't use his ranged attack, but not a huge deal. Heal 2 friendly troop and create a copy of it in your hand. Yeah, that's kind of nice. So we could do it to target it, but well, now I'm wondering, like, we could just... We have a lot of options this turn, actually. So I can punch this and kill this. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I think... So I can heal this for 2 and then play another one. That seems decent. Oh, it doesn't heal because it's at max health? Oh my god, I messed this up. Very much so. Whoopsie. Take out that. Alright. Well, not ideal. I forgot that heal is actually, like, you have to use your health first. So this should be at 3 if we played that correctly. Unfortunate. Well, next turn, honestly, maybe we'll just go Hive Crone and use our passive. And heal 2 to a random friendly unit. Patience Hunger might come in handy, we'll see. Still so much to learn about this game. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's still taking 4 to kill our units, so even though we screwed up, and it should be alive still, not the worst. Okay. Imagine they're going to use 2 mana to get a free Primaris Interceptor. Nice. And they got Vanguard, not bad. Ooh. Well, we could run out our Winged Tyrant, but honestly, this is just such a good opportunity to Hive Crone and kill their Vanguard unit and just swing away. So I think that's going to be the move. And then we can Spirit Leech. Well, sorry. Let's do that post-combat, Tim. Get to kill this. And might as well just punch this unit too. And then we will heal this and heal the adjacent units for health. Very nice. 2 nice threats on the board. 8 health on this one. It's flying. Oh, shoot. Well, Inspired Retribution, not bad. I guess I'd rather use it on that than Winged Tyrant. At some point, I gotta figure out when I want to use Digestion Pool. Okay. Oh, our Tyranid Prime's going down, sadly. But getting to trade some health is not too bad. Now we might want to start thinking about getting aggressive here. Spore Mines have not really done anything, which is pretty unfortunate. Honestly, I think let's just run out our 9-drop here. Hope they don't have anything. Then we're going to heal this so we get to draw a card. Very nice. We're ahead on life. Let's keep it that way. Nice. Okay, we got... Definitely picked up some good units. No! I was really hoping they didn't have another one. Oh, that's unfortunate. Dang. Okay, definitely want to kill the Apothecary. That thing's pretty obnoxious. Okay. How do we want to do this? Random enemy. So, can't guarantee killing that. Unless we use Darkened Sky. So I guess we could see what we hit here. And I can actually play one of these spores. Because we've got enough mana, right? Yeah. Let's heal. Okay, dealt 3 there. That's unfortunate. So I am gonna actually trade off the fleet here. Could also just go face, but this is gonna heal. So gonna hurt a little bit to take this out, but pretty worth to make sure that they don't continually heal. And the spore can't die to this alone, at least. Oh boy. Executioner is a scary card. That's not great. Okay. Well, we're going to be able to drop them super low. 2 damage to all enemies for each one that dies, heal 2. So we can deal 3 to go to 5. Another 2 to go to 3. And then Spirit Leech, yeah, that should do it. Okay. I think we've got the win here. 3 damage. Oh, this costs 5 mana. We do not have the win here. This is dealing 10. Jeez. Stealth. Ooh, Vanguard. Let's see. I guess Vanguard keeps us alive pretty well. And let's do our additional 1. Knock him to 2. And hope we get there. Oh, the Vanguard unit. But this doesn't care about Vanguard, I'm pretty sure. Rapacious Hunter. Whew. I think we got there. This is a really good game. Oh right, overtime, then we draw multiple cards. Boom. Let's go. GG. Alright. Made some serious mistakes, but got there. Very nice. Well, I think this video is going to be long enough. Honestly, I was more interested in talking about the drafting than going through all the games, but maybe I'll let you know how that deck turns out, and then we'll draft some other factions. I think I still have some time tomorrow, maybe. But if we don't get to it, I'll definitely circle back when the game goes up. So, yeah, thanks for sticking with me. I hope it's cool to get to see a bit of a new game and see how that goes. And, yeah, until next time. See you then.